Bonjour Nila, bonjour à tous. Merci vous pouvez rejoindre nous pour la séance de la PNQ. À mes côtés, Alwin Sanguili, bonjour.
Bonjour Priscilla.
Après une semaine de congé en raison de la célébration de la fête nationale marquée par visite officielle, Premier ministre indien Narendra Modi à l'Assemblée nationale, puis reprend Zodi, PNQ leader l'opposition, accès l'au banca harcèlement, bullying, de possession de consommation, de possession et de consommation de drogue parmi les élèves dans l'école primaire et secondaire, qu'il est public ou privé. Jolie Jonga questionne ministre de l'Éducation, Menganga Pausad, en vit le nombre de cas depuis janvier 2025 à ce jour et que mesure qui finit prend par ce ministère pour contrôle et éradique ce problème-là au sein de établissement scolaire. Alwin Sanguili, indiscipline et violence dans l'école, un sujet préoccupant et que la rentrée scolaire, ça l'année-là, fin marquée par plusieurs cas.
Wikipédia Priscilla, donc la rentrée de 2025 fin marquée par plusieurs cas d'indiscipline et d'agression dans nos établissements scolaires, que ce soit dans l'école primaire ou soit dans le collège. Ainsi, le mercredi 22 janvier, c'est avec un crayon qu'un écolier de grade 5 fin blesse son camarade. Les faits se sont produits dans une école primaire à Bambou. Le lendemain, jeudi 23 janvier, un écolier de grade 1 fin rentre Côte-Lit avec un œil au beurre noir et qu'une bosse au front. Questionné par sa maman, ses élèves-là disaient qu'il est fin agressé par nul autre que par son enseignante. Le vendredi 24, donc le lendemain, multiplication des cas, donc un cas rapporté au poste de police de Trou-Fanfaron, quand une fillette de 5 ans, nouvellement admise en grade 1 dans l'école, il a allégué qu'il y a une enseignante, une frappe dans ce ban partie intime, et qui aussi, sa enseignante-là, une baisse sur ban sous-vêtements en pleine heure de classe. Le 24 janvier, donc le même jour, cette fois-ci dans un cas rapporté au poste de police de l'hôpital G2, c'est un collégien de grade 7 qui fait une porte plainte contre un élève de sa classe qui fait agresser. Ces élèves-là ont donné plusieurs coups de poing aux épaules, les dos et dans ce ban côte. Ce agresseur, donc ces élèves de grade 7-là, fin par la suite prend un objet en métal et il donne un violent coup à la cuisse. Le 26 janvier, au poste de police de Triolet, donc un policier fin confronté au refus d'un garçon de 11 ans qui pas nous les réal l'école, l'ITI admettre en grade 7 à la rentrée de 2025, traumatisé et harcelé par les autres élèves sur classe, tout simplement parce qu'il se CV long et l'ITI ça en chignon, comme on dit en poutou en créole, et ce camarade type réili, type boulili, et l'enfant a dû être assisté par une psychologue de la CDU.
Autant de cas, Alwin, qui finit rapporté depuis le début de l'année. Et le ministre de l'Éducation tire réuni d'urgence à ce bureau, donc à Phoenix, le 30 janvier dernier. Ban représentant de la police, brigade pour la protection de la famille et de la CDU, ban psychologue, ban délégué de ban ministère de l'égalité des genres et du bien-être de la famille, de la santé et des sports pour discuter justement du problème et qui établit une stratégie avant qu'il y ait trop tard. Est également présent lors de sa rencontre-là, l'Ombudsperson for Children et directeur de ban zone. Il est bon aussi pour rappeler Alwin qui l'indiscipline dans l'école n'est pas nouveau. Dans le passé, en 2022-2023, bureau de l'Ombudsperson for Children s'y enregistré 70 cas de violence à l'école, incluant un cas de harcèlement. Et finalement, un protocole qui finit bien établi pour un cas de harcèlement, donc bullying, un protocole qui existait déjà pour donner un soutien psychologique à des élèves qui touchaient, dans certains cas, un exercice de transfert l'IFER, donc pour permettre à des élèves concernés pour sentir en sécurité. De plus, dès qu'il y a un problème de bullying, responsable de l'école, donc les bizins rapportent le cas à la zone directorate.
Et donc, il y a aussi une proposition qui finit fait donc après sa première prise de contact avec les responsables, les parties prenantes dans les écoles et dans les collèges. Donc, une proposition, c'est une intervention proactive du personnel enseignant quand vous retrouvez devant un cas de bullying ou de violence. Ensuite, le ministère fin promouvoir une culture de respect, d'empathie, d'inclusion par le biais de campagnes de sensibilisation et aussi je paye incite à ce qu'il y ait plus de supervision et un suivi accru dans une zone, comment dire, une zone directorate, côté harcèlement fréquent. Le ministère aussi peut prôner un service de conseil, un groupe de soutien et aussi une approche holistique pour qu'attaque problème là dans ce root cause et que mette en œuvre une mesure préventive et apporte un soutien aux victimes. L'important, Priscilla, c'est que le ministère de l'Éducation peut dire qu'il met tout choses en place pour qu'il y ait une création d'un environnement sûr, inclusif, que les élèves pour sentir en sécurité et clair, là, sont capables d'épanouir.
En attendant cette séance de la PNQ qui peut démarrer donc dans un petit moment, donc en comparaison avec les autres pays, Halloween, Maurice, en dépit de la Children's Act de 2020, responsable de l'école, donc ce pays a grand pouvoir en fait pour agir, pour mettre frein à tout acte de violence, de harcèlement ou encore de dégradation de biens publics. En revanche, en Grande-Bretagne, personnel de l'école capable d'intervenir physiquement selon la section 93 de l'Education and Inspection Act de 2006. Alors nous vous prenons tout de suite la direction de l'Assemblée nationale, côté cette PNQ de Joe Lejongar adressée au ministre Gunga Barsad, ministre de l'Éducation, l'indiscipline dans les écoles, pas pour tarder pour commencer. À tout de suite.
Announcements.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, it is with sadness that we learnt of the passing away of Dr. Bendon, former member of the National Assembly, on the 2nd of March of this year in India. Dr. Bendon contested the 1982 general elections for the National Assembly under the banner of the alliance MMM-PSM for constituency number 5, Pamplemousse-Triolet, and he was returned as third member of the said constituency. On the 18th of June 1982, he was appointed Minister of Youth and Sports, a portfolio he held until March 1983. On the 5th of April 1983, he was appointed Minister for Employment and Social Security and National Solidarity, a post he occupied until August 1983. Madam Speaker, Dr. Bendon stood again for the general elections of 1983, again for constituency number 5, under the banner of the MSM Labour Party, and he was returned as second member. On the 6th of September 1983, he was appointed Minister for Employment and of Social Security and National Solidarity, a portfolio he held until March 1986. Subsequently, on the 18th of March 1986, he was appointed Minister of Industry. On the 8th of September 2006, Dr. Bendon was appointed Chairperson of the Mauritius Post and Cooperative Bank Limited. Madam Speaker, may I kindly request you to direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the Opposition, I wish to associate myself with the tribute paid by the Honourable Prime Minister to late Dr. Diwakar Bendon. And Madam Speaker, may I kindly request you to direct the Acting Clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deep condolences to the bereaved family. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Honourable members, I associate myself with a tribute paid to the memory of late Diwakar Bendon, former Member of Parliament, by Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and I direct the Acting Clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family. Honourable Members, I have an announcement to make with regard to the appointment of the sessional select committees pursuant to Standing Order 69 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly 1995. With regard to the Committee of Selection, chaired by myself, I'm pleased to inform the House that following consultations held with members of the Assembly, I have today, pursuant to Standing Order 69(1)(b), nominated the following members to serve on the said committee. The Honourable Kuvalayan Kugan Parapen, Junior Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity. Honourable Marie-Geneviève Stéphanie Anctil, Government Chief Whip. Honourable Pianivel Venkatasamy, Deputy Chief Government Whip. Honourable Gilbert Tony Apollon. Honourable Balakrishna Babaji. Honourable Francisco François. Honourable Kushal Lubin, and Honourable Mohammed Reza Somtani. The Committee of Selection will soon meet to nominate members to serve on the following parliamentary committees, of course having due consideration to both members of the opposition and independent member. The Public Accounts Committee, the Standing Orders Committee, the House Committee, the Broadcasting Committee, and the Parliamentary Gender Caucus. Thank you.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Honourable Leader of the Opposition,
Thank
have
you.
the floor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've given notice of the following private notice question, which is addressed to Dr. the Honourable Minister of Education and Human Resource, whether in regard to bullying, drug possession and consumption amongst students in public and private primary and secondary schools. He will state the number of reported cases thereof since January 2025 to date, indicating the measures being taken by his ministry for the control and eradication thereof. Thank you,
Minister.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the honourable member for putting this question on harassment and bullying, substance abuse in educational institutions. Let me remind the Leader of the Opposition and the public at large and everyone that the issue of bullying, drug possession, consumption among students in public and private primary and secondary schools does not date back to a few months ago. I hope the Honourable Leader of Opposition, being a cabinet member of the previous government, must have on several occasions asked the previous Minister of Education about same. And I hope he got the right answers from her. Bullying has always been a major problem in all our schools. We are not like them going to hide the truth, to hide the problem. It was and it is a problem. If you allow me, Madam Speaker, as a former rector myself, I can vouch, even at that time, there were cases, but cases escalated enormously during the past 10 years. I can see in front of me a former deputy rector, Honorable Jaman, Honorable Manan from Rodrigues, an educator. On my left, I have Honorable Reza Samtali, Honorable Ramkelawan, members of the fraternity. For the past 10 years, managing discipline, especially drugs, harassment, was a real headache because there was no willpower. There was no political willpower. But now, changement is here. We have a clear mandate by the population to set things right. The honorable leader of opposition in a recent press conference was talking about population paysannes margaux. Who planted the margaux? They plant the margaux, and today, when we are reaping the margaux, he finds it bitter. The same question, this drug issue, under their tenure, has escalated to such proportion. Perhaps, bénéfice du doute, he is coming to do his mea culpa. We grant him this, so that he goes home and he feels he has now started doing the right thing. Had he been doing it for the past 10 years, we wouldn't have reached here. When we, members of the opposition, the MMM, Labour Party, and members of Nouveau Démocrate, we were fighting this scourge, what did we find? Fortunately, you are on the chair, Madam Speaker. We had another person on the chair, and that person would prevent us when Honorable Rizautim would be putting questions on how many drug lords were arrested. When we were putting questions, when I was putting questions, we were prevented to talk. Today, la parole est libre, la pensée est libre, le pays est libre. Et maintenant, on va commencer, dans cette situation de liberté, d'adresser ce problème qui nous concerne tous comme une nation, comme un pays. I remember, again I will say it as a rector of a secondary school, the problem had not attained that level as it has attained today. And today we have inherited that from them. I have noticed that in the last 10 years, and when I became MP, and was not part of the formal education system, there was an abrupt recurrence of bullying as well as consumption of illicit drugs or substance in our schools. Pathetic. We feel sad about this situation. We are not happy about that situation because we are talking about our kids. We are talking about the kids of the Republic. Those parents whose kids have become victims of that situation, they may vouch what we are talking today. How can I forget that all my questions relating to this crucial matter were shut down by the previous speaker? Loudspeaker. Sorry, Madam Speaker, for calling. Goalkeeping skills led to this alarming situation. Not only him, the previous government didn't want to really look at that problem. Zot fin fané, nous pour nettoyer. Zot fin fané, nous pour nettoyer. And the problem they have brought to our threshold, we are committed with this Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister and this August Assembly, everyone present here. We have the mandate, we have the conviction. Together, we are going to do our maximum to address these issues. For the past 10 years, some students, unfortunately, have interiorized this bad habit of bullying, school violence, and made it to believe, they have believed that they could do whatever they wish, just like a certain Franklin, Deodani, and others of this country. These had become, unfortunately, the role models for some. Unfortunately, I hope now the country and the students are going to have other role models so that they can emulate better role models than they had in the past. And this has led to a lot of frustration among youngsters. And it is sad to know that bullies are coming from a younger and younger age bracket, Madam Speaker. It is sad. In the past, bullies were of a certain age. Today, we have bullies even in primary and pre-primary schools. And it is dangerous for a country. Did they address that issue? And another thing that I am highlighting, we have bullies, même au sein de la famille. Harcèlement, même au sein de la famille. Il faudra changer la mentalité, pour commencer, au sein de la famille même. Et ensuite, à l'école. Et ensuite, dans la société. Un peu partout, il faudra adresser ce problème épineux. Madam Speaker, today we have the strong political will to announce that our Prime Minister means business on this front. And there will be no piecemeal approach as they were doing, as his former government was doing. As Minister of Education, I cannot do it alone, nor the officials from the Ministry of Education can do it alone. We need full support of the population, which gave us a clear mandate in the last general elections. The message is clear. With us, no dilly-dallying.
Keep an eye on the time, please.
With us, no dilly-dallying. Like they had the je m'en foutisme attitude, the MSM government. The MSM government catered only for one thing, money politics, and drug was the primary thing which entered in our society. That is why some of us, we had nicknamed MSM, Mouvement Soutien Mafia. Mouvement Soutien Mafia has led us to this situation today. And many they were soutirés. And now we are uprooting the evil which set its tentacles in our society. It has become our arduous task, all of us present here. But we are hopeful. For the sake of the kids of this country, we will stand united as a nation in order to fight these scourges. They pretended to do what? Casse les reins mafia. But at the end of the day, they ended up caresser les reins mafia. And this problem gradually moved from the society and entered the premises of schools. How unfortunate. They had the time, they had the opportunity, they had the mandate to protect schools. They didn't do it. And today the leader of opposition is coming and asking this question. It amounts to intellectual dishonesty.
Minister,
but the population outside...
Minister, may I?
Yes.
You will have at one point to tell us what are you going to do?
I will. It is coming in piecemeal, I know, but the leader of opposition will have to wait for that, because the country waited for 10 years in order to bring the right recipe to solve this problem, because our La Cuisine is not like their La Cuisine. Madam Speaker, this year, I'm coming to the answer. Yes. This year, for the past 2 months, since the resumption of schools in January 2025, I am informed that across the 4 educational zones, we have 59 cases of harassment and bullying involving pupils of government primary school. 2, 67 cases involving students of state secondary schools. 3, 21 cases involving students of private secondary schools out of 108 private secondary schools. In the past, I have shown concern on this issue about substance abuse, whether inside or outside Parliament. This August Assembly will recall PQB 476, which was related to substance abuse, as well as PQB 795. Now, let me enumerate the measures that my ministry has taken in order to address this serious problem of bullying, drug abuse, and so on. Bear with me, Leader of Opposition, I'm going to enumerate them now, which is part B of the PNQ. Madam Speaker, we have undertaken the following actions. There will be 14 of them.
Address me.
Yes, there are 14 of them. Let me start with the first one. We are going to set up an education council comprising of representatives of a wide cross-section of all education sectors to address the issue in a holistic manner and for alignment of actions, developing consensus on a wide range of issues. 2, institutional networking and collaborative partnership with several stakeholders such as police force, CDU, Brigade pour la protection de la famille. 3, reinforcement of the student care and counseling desk in state secondary schools to provide necessary support to students facing emotional and other psychological problems with a view to promoting positive behavior through listening and supporting students and the training of educators involved in providing these services. 4, placing a strong focus on value-based education and life skills in the school curriculum. 5, reviving the inter-college competitions in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, with the support of Honorable Nagalingam, thereby giving them a sense of purpose. This is what we are going to do, both ministries. 6, helping pupils better manage their emotions through the implementation of the social and emotional well-being program. 7, strengthening the National Education and Counseling Service through the recruitment of additional educational psychologists and educational social workers at the level of ministry and private secondary school authority. 8, carrying out sensitization of students by the National Education and Counseling Service. 9, setting up of pastoral care committees to support students with behavioral issues. 10, ensure that disciplinary committees look into actions to be taken against students involving cases of indiscipline and violence. 11, ensuring the installation of CCTV cameras in some secondary schools. 12, posting of daytime security guards in risk-prone schools. 13, provision of a gatekeeper to control access to school compounds during the day. 14, regular police patrolling and vigilance around the risk-prone schools and at bus terminals. Madam Speaker, this question is not a simple PNQ. It concerns our kids. It concerns the future of this country. It concerns our children, and that is why we are serious about it. Madam Speaker, I would like to inform the House that this government means business, and we leave no stone unturned to tackle school violence, bullying, and substance abuse through the support of all stakeholders. Since I took office, Madam Speaker, in December 2024, I had several meetings with different sections of my ministry, and we jointly analyzed the situation in our schools. It was noted with concern that very little was done to mitigate the problem of drugs in our schools. One drug prevention education program, namely the Get Connected program, is being run for grade 8 students only. A program being run only for one specific grade, grade 8, whereas this problem concerns everyone. We are going to look into this issue. Despite the extensive help being provided by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime to run the above program, the previous regime, through its recklessness, failed to kickstart saving schools. Madam Speaker, drug and substance abuse in schools is not a problem for grade 8 or grade 10 only. It is a problem from pre-primary to tertiary level. This matter has also been highlighted by the National Audit Office in January 2025. Madam Speaker, I wish to highlight that all aspects related to indiscipline in school will be further discussed in consultation with all stakeholders during the forthcoming Assises de l'Éducation, which my ministry will host in mid-April 2025. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary question.
Yes, Madam Speaker. This has been a very long reply from the Minister. I hope I'll get enough time to put my supplementary questions.
You put your question. Put your question.
Yeah, my first question is with regard to a protocol. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether there is a protocol applicable to all educational institutions, that is public and private, with regard to drug possession and drug consumption?
Yes. Straightforward, please.
Madam Speaker, yes, there is. But as someone coming from that fraternity, I wish to inform the Honourable Leader of Opposition the number of problems, hurdles that rectors, educators face in order to search the bags of students. Sometimes when they have suspicion that some students may be in the possession of illicit substance, it is not easy for them to do that. That is why, in the weeks to come, I would solicit the help of the Attorney General's office in order to see what can be done in order to empower our rectors, deputy rectors, teaching and non-teaching staff in order to ally them in this combat against substance abuse in our schools.
Thank you. Yes.
I understand that now we do not have one protocol for all the institutions of the country. Now we are going to look into the possibility of having one protocol for all those institutions. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House of the various types of drugs seized in our educational institutions and whether there is a follow-up from his ministry on cases of drug possessions by the students?
That is a very tall order, Leader.
Yes, Madam. This is a very important subject.
And I don't see how he can wind up in such a short time. And there is...
all the time, Madam Speaker. This is very unfair.
Straightforward.
Like the many fallacies, spread by the previous government. The Leader of Opposition again is coming with a fallacy that there is no common protocol in the schools in order to detect drugs. He's wrong. We have a common protocol which applies in all schools for his information. Now, the type of drugs he has asked, okay? Unfortunately, we are talking about cannabis, we are talking about synthetic drugs, heroin and cocaine. He must have known it on his own.
No comments. Miss, one moment. Yes? Your friend is asking for...
Yes.
I give you one, and then we'll wind up.
You cannot do that, Madam
No,
Speaker.
we can't.
This is such an important subject on a PNQ.
I know.
I have only 3 questions. This is the
course.
first time, Madam Speaker. It is such an important subject.
I have 30 minutes for PNQ. We can come back on the subject. Don't you think
Yeah.
I am interested in the subject?
If you've given him so much time
I
for his reply,
tried
at least
to
give
stop
us
him.
time to
You're
put
wasting
questions,
right now
Madam
you're wasting
Speaker.
time.
No, this is very
ahead.
unfair.
11th hour.
Go ahead.
No. Will the Honourable Minister, if I've heard well what he has said, will he consider conducting random searches in educational institutions with the collaboration of the police force, as this will deter drug peddlers to operate in the vicinity or within the premises of educational institutions?
Short and sweet. Short and sweet.
Yes, that is what we are saying. It took him 10 years to come with that enlightening, wise decision.
No
I have
comments.
answered it.
No comments. Mr. Duval, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the last available report of the National Drug Observatory report states that there is an increased consumption under 18, including under 14 years old. Now, given that this increase is concerning and concerns schools mainly, and in fact, in view that there was a promise to set up the select committee on drug to come up with a master plan. I promised to do so 1 week after the election. We are now 16th week. And the minister, therefore, can the minister, therefore, tell us whether this has been relegated on the agenda?
It has never and will never be relegated. For his information, let me inform him and the House. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker.
You call him honourable member.
Honourable member. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, I cannot compare or even carry out the status of the different categories of indiscipline in different schools. Why? The answer comes from the National Audit Office. The National Audit Office says the previous government failed to collect and analyze data for the various types of indiscipline on a regular basis. I am not saying this. I am not saying this. Had there been proper organizational collection of data, various data-driven measures could have been initiated and would not be where we are today. But we are going to redress that situation.
Okay. Another question?
Yes, I have, not only one, more. Madam Speaker, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether teachers in our primary and secondary institutions during and after school hours hold classes with the students on moral values such as respect, honesty, responsibility, empathy, compassion and integrity, which foster positive relationship and ethical behavior?
Straightforward answer.
Yeah, I want straightforward answer.
Yes.
My motto, in fact, my motto.
Had the former Speaker of the Assembly followed that class, it would have been much better. Yes, yes, these classes are conducted, Honourable Leader of Opposition. Yes, I assure you, in our different schools, whether private or state secondary schools.
Thank you.
Address the Speaker.
You're not the Speaker today.
He's passing comments on me.
Let me.
He should apply the rules.
Honourable Duval, let me put order in the House.
May I, Madam
Please,
Speaker, in
Mr.
view of the prevailing
Yes.
situation in our educational institution concerning discipline, bullying and drug abuse, will the Honourable Minister consider having a standing committee comprising of the various stakeholders and meeting at regular intervals? I'm talking of a standing committee.
Madam Speaker, I think he's not following what is happening in this country. All right? He's not following because on Monday I've already started with Zone 1. Next Monday we are meeting Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 3. We have already met almost all stakeholders in December. So for his information, he should come with the right information while talking about that.
Maybe I can suggest, since this is such an important issue and it concerns all our children, whatever be our political opinions, our community, why don't you come with a paper? You come with a statement with all information. Please, Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good suggestion. And I'm inviting the Leader of Opposition pour les Assises de l'Éducation, which will take place on 15th, 16th, and 17th of April.
Okay. Invitation.
Madam Speaker, when I mentioned a standing committee with all stakeholders, I made reference to Parent Teachers Association and students also. Will that committee include Parent Teachers Association, members of Parent Teachers Association and students also?
Madam Speaker, yes. The answer is yes.
Yes. Yes.
With regard to the current legislation in force, will the Honourable Minister consider reviewing same to tighten the law so as to deter such practices and make our educational institutions safer, be it for students or for teachers, Madam Speaker?
Yes, Madam Speaker. The answer is yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Members, I have to beg to be excused. I have forgotten, and ce n'était pas méchant. It seems that I have forgotten to mention Honourable fourth member for Montaillon as a member of the Select Committee. But I did say that we would give due respect to the opposition. So Honorable Duval is also a member of that committee. Thank you. Alors, du coup, où nous en sommes? I think j'ai perdu mes questions là. Yes. I'm sorry, one moment. Honourable members, the table has been advised. There's no changes, I think. Honourable second member for Rivière des Anguilles and Souillac.
Madam Speaker, question.
Et voilà donc pour cette PNQ du leader de l'opposition, axé le cas de harcèlement, de bullying, donc de possession et consommation de la drogue parmi les élèves dans l'école primaire et secondaire, qu'il est public ou privé. Je les gens qui fait une question. Ministre de l'Éducation, Maën Ganga Porsad, il envie qu'on le nombre de cas qui finit signalé depuis janvier 2025 à ce jour, et bonne mesure qui finit prend par le ministère pour contrôle et éradique ce problème-là au sein de ban établissement scolaire. C'est un Maën Ganga Porsad qui est très ferme dans le ton qui finit répondre à sa PNQ là. Il finit d'abord rappeler que le problème de bullying, la drogue dans l'école n'a pas date depuis quelques mois. L'idée que bullying finit toujours un problème majeur et l'idée qui finit une escalade de ban cas ces 10 dernières années. L'idée qui pour gérer le problème de bullying, problème la drogue dans le passé tiennent malade la tête, mais l'idée qu'aujourd'hui le changement est là. L'idée qui pour commencer adresse le problème à Nganga Porsad, l'idée qui pour faire le maximum, l'idée qui finit un rajeunissement de victimes de bullying dans l'école pré-primaire et primaire, l'idée qui d'abord vise un sens mentalité au sein de la famille même. L'idée en tant que ministre de l'éducation, il n'est pas capable de régler le problème là tout seul. L'idée qu'il vise un soutien de toute la population, mais l'idée qu'il est optimiste. Nganga Porsad qui finit rappeler par la speaker qui bien dire qu'il est pour faire, et à partir de là Nganga Porsad dit que depuis les 2 derniers mois finina 59 cas de bullying dans l'école primaire, 67 cas dans State Secondary School et 21 cas dans l'école privée. Alors le ministre qui fait aussi annonce à Louis Sangili 14 mesures parmi un Education Council pour adresser le problème avec une approche holistique, et parmi justement les autres mesures, l'idée aide ban jeunes pour gérer les émotions et recrutement de psychologues, campagne de sensibilisation, mais aussi à l'UIN, donc présence de sécurité.
Au niveau donc de sa mesure qui finit annoncée par le ministre de l'Éducation, nous relève surtout l'importance qu'il y peut accorder à la sécurité aux abords des écoles primaires et aussi des collèges. Donc l'installation de caméras CCTV. Il finit aussi annonce garde de sécurité aux abords des collèges. Aussi un gatekeeper dans un établissement scolaire, gatekeeper, c'est-à-dire il peut veiller à ce que les enfants puissent rentrer un air qui se bizarre, et aussi une patrouille de police régulière aux abords des collèges. Juste brièvement, Priscilla, les chiffres qui annoncés, quand on additionne 59, 67 et 21 cas, ça fait un total de 147 cas en moins de 3 mois, Priscilla. C'est quand même étonnamment alarmant.
Alors, au final, également d'autres questions à lui, de Joe Lejonga lui-même par rapport à protocole en ce qui concerne la drogue dans l'école, et aussi questions concernant fouille dans l'école, et finalement également une question supplémentaire du député Duval.
Effectivement, Priscilla, donc Joe Lejonga, leader de l'opposition, demande le ministre de l'Éducation, est-ce qu'il existe un protocole applicable dans l'école publique et l'école privée? Ce à quoi le ministre a répondu effectivement, et un protocole commun donc qui concerne et les écoles privées et les écoles publiques. Il concerne surtout ce protocole-là quand il y a un cas de cannabis et de drogue synthétique qui relevé. Deuxième question, deuxième question de Joe Lezonga, quand il dit, est-ce que le ministère ou le gouvernement pour permettre à ce qu'il y ait une fouille surprise dans un établissement scolaire, sur à quoi le ministre de l'Éducation répond effectivement nous pouvons faire li. Et lui aussi il rappelle que ces bonnes affaires qui bien fini implémentent bien avant mais qui sous l'ancien régime pas de faire. Donc la question d'Adrien Duval donc qui concerne est-ce qu'il peut être mis sur pied d'un select committee comme annoncé juste après la prise de pouvoir du régime actuel. Donc, tu as annoncé que tu peux lancer le comité qui pouvait venir après avec un master plan. Donc, le ministre indien qui, effectivement, ne veut pas reléguer ça dans notre calendrier à plus tard. Je vais travailler déjà là-dessus.
Alors, en ce moment même, Halloween, la Prime Minister's Question Time fait que démarrer. Construction d'un nouvel tour de contrôle à l'aéroport de Plaisance. Projet Safe City, prolifération de la drogue encore une fois. Et un cas d'agression alléguée, l'eau, la plage du Saint-Félix figure parmi bonnes questions donc, à l'ordre du jour, Halloween.
Effectivement, Priscilla. Donc, première question de la séance de PNQ qui concerne sa
chantier.
Le coût et le chantier donc de la nouvelle tour de contrôle de l'aéroport Saint-Sagar Ramgoulam à Plaisance. Du tout connaît un tour de contrôle comment dit important pour un aéroport et quand nous guettons ce qui nous passait avec ce chantier là, on peut se permettre de se poser certaines questions. Il bon rappelle qui Airports of Mauritius AML qui donne sa contrat là pour un coût initial de 600 millions en 2018 et 6 ans plus tard, le coût de ce projet là est plus qu'il doublé pour atteindre 1,2 milliard de roupies.
Donc, nous gagnons plus de détails tout à l'heure avec le Premier ministre qui pourrait répondre à cette question-là. Sinon, Halloween, le Representation of People Amendment Bill, vous présentez ce mardi à l'Assemblée nationale par Premier ministre Navin Ramgoolam, sa texte de loi-là, pour adopter après 3 lectures aujourd'hui même, qui est programmée aujourd'hui. L'objectif, c'est de permettre l'émission de rates of election dès demain ou au cours de la semaine pour l'organisation de municipales, donc élections municipales Salanila qui marque donc la fin d'une longue période d'incertitude et de prolongation de mandat de conseils municipaux.
Oui, ça fait 10 ans qu'il n'a pas fini dans l'élection municipale dans la ville. Donc là, le gouvernement peut venir un peu à la va-vite, nous dire, bizarre enchaîne donc le texte de loi, le vote et les débats bien sûr, pour qui permettent l'émission de rates of election dès demain ou même au courant de la semaine. Ensuite, nous prenons l'annonce du nomination day et bien sûr l'organisation des élections municipales qui prévue, il semblerait, pour le 4 mai.
En tout cas, c'est à suivre sur la page défimedia.info. Merci à Louis Sanguili pour ce compte-rendu.
Merci Priscilla et merci à nos auditeurs et tous nos bonnes fidèles suiveurs sur les plateformes de Défi Média Group.
Et merci également à nos 2 collègues Abhishek Sitowel et Antish Bawan à la réalisation. Donc, vous êtes capable de suivre de leurs extraits de la PNQ à 13h, dans le journal qui peut présenter par Nabiha Moradja. À très bientôt.